Well, good evening.
Good evening.
I have for years in pro-life ministry in Massachusetts and now through the Theological Education Institute been running at the toughest questions. If you run away from them, they tackle you, but if you run after them, you tackle them. And that's something I learned in football in high school. And the bottom line reality is that we're speaking the truth. And those who support human abortion know deep in their souls they're not speaking the truth. We have the psychological, the spiritual, the moral, the intellectual confidence. And my passion is to equip us with that confidence. One puts flight to how many, says the Bible? 1,000. Two puts flight to 10,000. So how many do we have here? 80? Well, that takes care of a few hundred million. Okay.
All right.
I'll be teaching a seminar. I'm going to pass this out to you a little bit later. Tentative date on March 19th, called "The Power of 3 Questions to End the Abortion Industry." Now, I've done public forums with the head of the National Abortion Rights Action League, the head of the Religious Coalition for Abortion Rights, the head of the National Organization for Women, on all the Ivy League campuses and beyond. And that's why I have confidence. Why? Because I'm smarter? No. Because we are pursuers of truth. And if you pursue truth, as I said the other night, does anyone here know what the speed of darkness is? It doesn't exist.
No.
Okay? Let the light shine, the darkness dissipates, and that's what we're all about. So let me share with you 3 questions where I know the darkness will dissipate. Three questions to pose to the members of the council, and in particular to abortion rights elitists, whether with NARAL, whether with NOW, the ACLU, whether with the Religious Coalition for Reproductive Choice, as they call it. 3 questions, and they will flee. The first question is this: do you believe in male chauvinism? So imagine if you are an abortion rights elitist, and someone asks you, do you believe in male chauvinism? What would they say?
No.
They would say no. But you know what the reality is? The overwhelming majority of abortions are because some man got a woman pregnant and took off.
That's right.
It is the quintessential male chauvinism. I was arguing this at Smith College with Patricia Ireland, head of the National Organization for Women. And I made it that point for the 3rd time. And in an audience that was overwhelmingly pro-abortion, they broke out in raucous applause for me, a white heterosexual male, an evangelical pro-life minister. 6 strikes and I was out.
Yes.
But the bottom line was, all those women knew that abortion is the ultimate male chauvinism. So we need to ask those who support abortion, do you support male chauvinism? And we're in the driver's seat.
Amen.
Secondly, do you believe in honest science? One time I was debating the chair of psychology at Cornell University, also headed up Planned Parenthood of Tompkins County, New York, and he kept avoiding the biology of conception. A sperm meets an egg, and that's why we're here. And everyone knows it, okay? So he keeps avoiding it. Then all of a sudden a student asked a question, and he started to answer, and all of a sudden he was 1 sentence away from admitting what conception was. Then I watched the engines in his mind spin at hyperspeed as he gave a very eloquent non-sentence for the next 2 minutes to say what he didn't want to say, which was life begins at conception. We hold the truth. It is simple.
Right.
And the 3rd question, and this is the most important one, do you believe in the God of the Bible? When the councilman said earlier that many people in their souls know that pro-life is true, we need to reach into that with honest questions.
Right.
And if we have constituents that are believers, and if we know that they claim to believe, then we say, okay, show us biblically. And I've been doing this for 30 years. There is no biblical justification to destroy what God has given us to procreate.
That's right.
And so we need confidence in that. And so I'm going to pass these out for you. Sorry. And then also, if you want to sign up and have them before on my email list for the seminar, we'll pass this out as well.
Right.
Do it legibly,
Right.
particularly for the email. And let me conclude with one story. Winning an argument is easy, but that gets us nowhere. Winning a relationship is everything. One time I was invited to debate at Brown University 22 years ago with the immediate past president of Planned Parenthood. And I had a question from the audience during the Q&A. A woman looked at me as an evangelical pro-life minister and said, "What about rape and incest?" And the whole audience came to quiet. They thought I was nailed with that tough question. I looked at her, thinking spontaneously, and I said, "That's a very good question. Let me ask you a question." And it turned into three. The first question I asked her was, "Is it fair for me to assume that you, like me, are seeking the qualities of peace, order, stability, and hope?" That entire audience was quiet. Sometimes you work a lifetime for 90 seconds. And they all resonated that we're seeking those qualities. I continued, "Is it also fair for me to assume that you, like me, are seeking to live, to love, to laugh, and to learn?" She nodded yes, and so did everyone else in that room. So then I said, okay, there's far more that unites us than divides us. We're seeking these qualities. I have one final question for you. In the face of the hell of rape and incest, and it is hell, does abortion unrape the woman and restore to her the lost qualities of peace, order, stability, and hope? And no one had anything to say. Abortion does not unrape a woman. Abortion doesn't unchauvinize a woman. Abortion only destroys another life, and the cycle to hell only continues of the pain and the suffering. I was sharing this once with a physician whose husband is one of the top astrophysicists in the world. I was about to share this story. She said, "Oh, I'm pro-choice." I said, "That's not my point of illustration." And when I came to the point of saying to her, this pro-choice physician, "Does abortion unrape a woman?" she went, "No." If a pro-choice physician can say no to the reality that abortion does not solve anything, we have the authority. May we go in God's grace. Thank you.